It's time for What's Up This Week.
Hello everyone. This week we are remembering the anniversary of the first moving picture, The Horse in Motion. Photography has been around since 1839, but the evolution from still photographs to moving pictures didn't happen until decades later. The Horse in Motion isn't a commercial film with any kind of storyline to it, but it is the first example of chronophotography that we have. Chronophotography is a series of photographs of a moving object, made possible by the advance of instantaneous photography. You see, before instantaneous photography, subjects had to sit still and wait several minutes for the film to be exposed. Chronophotography was typically used to study motion and the passing of time, since multiple photos could be taken very quickly. When horse enthusiast and former governor of California, Leland Stanford, wanted to examine the different positions that a running horse takes, he hired Edward Muybridge to get the job done. He specifically wanted to know if a running horse ever had all four hooves in the air at the same time. Some say he wanted this information to settle a bet, but historians all agree that there is no evidence anywhere that such a bet ever took place. But it makes for a good story. Muybridge was a pioneer in the photographic studies of motion. On June 15, 1878, to achieve Stanford's objective, he placed 24 cameras along a racetrack to capture the horse in motion. Each photograph was taken approximately 1/25th of a second apart. Muybridge's images were groundbreaking and they were published worldwide. The images alone did not move, but when viewed in a zoopraxiscope, gave the appearance of movement. The zoopraxiscope is thought of as the earliest movie projector and was a stepping stone towards true cinematography. And that is the story of the first moving picture. Muybridge's life took a rather dramatic turn for the worse later on, but I'll leave that for you to read about if you choose. To learn more about Muybridge and the history of moving pictures in cinema, you can check out any of these titles. Okay, James, what have you got for us this week?
Appreciate it, Katrina, and hi everybody. For this episode, we're acknowledging the birthday of the notable Native American called Geronimo. Estimated to have been born on June 16, 1829, Geronimo grew up among a band of Chiricahua Apache in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. His official birth date is unknown. Additionally, how exactly he came to be called Geronimo is not firmly established. Anyhow, Geronimo served under the Apache leaders Cochise and Mangas Coloradas. In 1858, Geronimo's mother, wife, and children were slain in an attack by Mexican troops. Then, in 1877, Geronimo and fellow Apache were all moved by the U.S. government to the San Carlos Reservation in Arizona. Living conditions were far from ideal, so Geronimo escaped with other Apache, but as a result, they had to battle U.S. troops in the Southwest and in Chihuahua. Ultimately, they surrendered and returned to the reservation. 4 years after, Geronimo, along with others, fled to the Sierra Madre mountain range in Mexico and set up camps. They led raids on both sides of the U.S.-Mexican border. In 1883, following an attack on the Apache camps led by General George Crook, Geronimo and his group surrendered and returned. The highly determined Geronimo and company escaped again in May 1885 from the reservation. They surrendered some months later before escaping once more. In 1886, Geronimo surrendered to General Nelson A. Miles, who replaced Crook and was held at forts in Florida and Alabama. Initially, Miles promised that Geronimo and his followers could return to Arizona following exile in Florida. That isn't how it played out ultimately. Geronimo and his group were held as prisoners and forced to work hard labor. 8 years later, Geronimo was moved to Fort Sill in Oklahoma, where he farmed and joined the Dutch Reformed Church. Fort Sill is also where Geronimo told his life story, a 1906 book called Geronimo's Story of His Life. Geronimo, like his followers, resisted colonization and didn't want to be confined to a particular area by the very people that robbed them of their homeland in the first place. So Geronimo worked assiduously to show strength against those that violently disagreed. He wanted the freedom, space, and culture that was his human right, not simply the things he was allowed. A loyal Apache leader that was also a medicine man, Geronimo led a rough and challenged existence, but also made do with the circumstances before him, and helped turn his life into an enduring legend. All right, Megan, what is the weird thing for this episode?
Hi everyone! This week's weird thing is that June 15th is Nature Photography Day. On this day, we celebrate nature photography and all of its uses in promoting the cause of conservation. Nature photography is basically any photography taken outdoors which features the natural world, plants, animals, and landscapes. If you've ever admired a photograph of a scenic view in a foreign land or a close-up on a wild animal in its natural element, consider the people who went out and captured those images and pause to recognize them. Nature photography allows us to see things we would never get to see in our regular lives, and it's easy to take it for granted since we are inundated with images every day. Nature photography has long been used by conservationists and environmentalists to help advocate for their causes. It's fairly simple. If a person can see and appreciate the beauty of a natural landscape or a wild animal in its natural habitat, they may better understand the need to protect it. Carlton Watkins' photographs of Yosemite Valley, taken for the California State Geological Survey, helped pave the way towards that land being declared untouchable by President Lincoln in 1864. Soon after, in 1872, America's first national park, Yellowstone, was created thanks to photos taken by William Henry Jackson. Famous photographer Ansel Adams also advocated for the expansion of Yosemite. This was the very beginnings of environmentalism in American politics. Nature photography also helps advocate for wildlife. Seeing animals thriving in their environments is a beautiful thing. Come on, don't you want to preserve these guys' homes? To celebrate Nature Photography Day, you should explore nature and snap some photos. We've got many books specifically about techniques for taking photos of nature. Don't feel like going outside? I don't blame you. It's really hot out there. We also have photography books you can check out with beautiful examples of nature photos to look at, and a few DVDs. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and snap some photos of beautiful Fort Bend. Join us again next week for more facts and trivia from University Branch Library.